Can I put a proposition to you? Because you're family, you guys are just so much alike. And Meghan really is just a carbon copy. What do you say to that proposition? I mean, in the sense that you're really just as bad as each other.
Well, I throw no, you throw them back.
I mean, she has made money out of selling her story.
No offense.
You have made money sometimes out of selling your story.
But she can afford a much bigger to evolve.
He's got those 4,000-year-old vampire overlord eyes.
Yeah.
They're all jet black. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
I like how when the interviewer suggests they're maybe a carbon copy, the dad and the brother both nod their heads. The sister, on the other hand, remains indignant. All of them emerge from this, though, in some self-soothing behavior. And a way to put that into a little capsule so you can see it easier in your own life is that any repetitive behavior is self-soothing. Again, we're bringing up Joe Navarro here. That's where I heard that from. And you can see it when the main topic is presented here by the interviewer. They all had a little stressed response to this question, but the question itself is stressful on its own. So it could be expected to cause stress in anybody. So it's expected. I don't think it suggests deception at any level. I think it's truthful. And I think they're probably deferring to the dad because if you've seen any family where somebody has a neurological illness and they have trouble speaking or they can't speak loudly enough, people tend to be more deferent to those people the moment they start talking. It's possible. There's a chance that he had several maybe baby strokes, which are called TIAs, leading up to this larger one, which could cause something called emotional lability. And this condition severely affects somebody's ability to control their mood. And I don't know if that's the case. I'm not saying it is. And I'll wrap this up with pro tip number 5, control. Malignant narcissists often have this strong need for control, and they might view some relationships as a means to an end. Abandoning family, denying their existence could be an attempt to exert control over that person's personal narrative so they can shape their public image as they see fit. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, a couple of things. I agree with you. I think the crux of the matter of this entire interview is this question. Aren't you just like her? Aren't you just like her? And in fact, yes, they all are. You know, I mean, to quote somebody we know, when Meghan was saying, they're throwing me under the bus for money, he said, what the hell do you think you're doing? Because it's exactly what both sides have been doing. They're getting in front of a camera in exchange for. The royals haven't, of course, because it's not what they do. And the whole stiff upper lip thing, Mark, and the very British thing they're doing. But this very American playing out, and Harry's becoming American very quickly. Too bad Jerry Springer just died. He could have maybe had him on. That would have been a great opportunity to see how this thing played out. But watch the father and the son's adapters. Here's one of those things. Human beings are wired, and if you think that we are born clean slates, I don't. I think we have a lot of genetic wiring that causes us to behave the same way as our parents. I move like my father, for example. And it's not just because my father was there. It's because I'm wired physically the same way. Watch the father and the son's adapters when they both get uncomfortable and they're adapting on that right leg. Both have their left hand on the inside of their thigh. Here, when the father's trying to think of what to say, you hear him stammering.
Well, I throw no, you throw them back.
That's not related to the stroke. I think it's just him stammering and saying, "Dee, dee, dee." And he's trying to get an analogy about her having a bigger ball than he does.
She can afford a much bigger ball.
I'll leave that for whatever it's worth. And then the daughter and the father both turtle when they're challenged. You see them both shrink down when he challenges them and said, "Aren't you both alike?" And then when they're called out on this family drama, here's the difference. If you're called out on family drama and you know you have the upper hand, you don't typically say, they did it too. You typically just say, I didn't do it. They don't ever say that. You see her open her mouth in disbelief, the daughter. That open her mouth in disbelief would probably be a predecessor to some aggression. But when I think about people who, when you say you did this wrong and they point out that somebody else did it, it's kind of like me looking at Chase and saying, hey, you got something in your teeth. And you say, so does she. Not related. If you don't have stuff in your teeth, you don't have stuff in your teeth. If you do, you don't point to the other person and say, so do they. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I love this. I love Ian. He's fantastic. He's just classic Australian because as you all well know, especially you Australians out there, you can be a little bit harsh now and again, even for the English. Like you take it just that little bit too far. I understand why. But he goes, I've got a proposition for you, and then he just slaps him around the face with, "You're as bad as you're all cut from the same cloth, mate. You're all cut from the same cloth." So it is what we call tit for tat, which is, in my mind, is the best film that Laurel and Hardy ever made. Tit for tat. I do one thing, you do a next thing, and it escalates and escalates and escalates and escalates. And basically that's what he's saying. It's you're just in a family tit for tat battle. Now, what's great is the family really do come together on this, because you see them align in many of their behaviors. They align somewhat in their acceptance of it. They align somewhat in wanting to interrupt. We see some regulator, some moderator gestures in there. Some big, some smaller, but trying to interrupt with it. And what do they manage to interrupt with? Well, the unfairness of...
I sort of go, "Oh, you throw them back."
So basically goes, it's tit for tat. That's what we do in this family. That's our way of operating. But it's unfair because she's gone and got a bigger ball. Well, okay, so now we are in this area of complaint of somebody has more status than I do, and that's unfair, and that cannot be tolerated. And they are all in agreement around this. So I love it when a family comes together around this. Scott, what do you got on this one?
Everybody wants to talk here. They all want to say something, but the only person talking is the dad, because the other two, they have respect for him, or they've learned to keep their mouth shut and watch what they say and let him go first. So I don't know if that says he's a narcissist and he was controlling them and all that stuff, but I thought that was really interesting. You see both of them. She's over there, her mouth is going, but nothing's coming out. And the brother is trying to say something as well. So that to me is really interesting. Everybody's trying to keep quiet, but they're both looking for a spot to jump in where they don't run over the dad, So we kind of do that here. No matter who's talking, they're the one we wait for our time and then try to jump in and say something. So, and then you have like you were saying, Greg, the adapters. They're both adapting on their leg, and the son is adapting on his leg fairly hard. This is from a body language perspective. Almost, it's not uninteresting. It's just we're seeing the classics there that we always go over. So I'll leave it there. All right, we good?
Yeah.
One of those tape replays.
Can I put a proposition to you? Because you're family, you guys are just so much alike. And Meghan really is just a carbon copy. What do you say to that proposition? I mean, in the sense that you're really just as bad as each other.
Well, I sort of go, "Oh, you throw them back."
I mean, she has made money out of selling her story.
No offense.
You have made money sometimes out of selling your story.
That she can afford as much space to evolve.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.